call the meeting to order and start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Melissa Walker.
Here.
Mrs. Cotterman.
Here.
Mr. Mosier. Here. Miss Amy Walker.
Here.
Mr. Wigton. Here.
Adoption of agenda. I need a motion, please.
So moved. Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Mosier.
Four.
Mr. Wigton.
Four.
Miss Amy Walker.
4.
Mrs. Cotterman.
4.
Mrs. Melissa Walker.
4. I need a motion for the approval of previous board meeting minutes.
So moved.
And a second.
I'll second.
And discussion. Roll call.
Miss Amy Walker.
4.
Mrs. Cotterman.
4.
Mr. Mosier.
Four.
Mr. Wigton. Mrs. Melissa Walker.
4. Presentation of certificates. So I'm going to start out. I'd like to take a minute to present Brad with an award from the Ohio Auditor of State, Keith Faber. The Ohio Auditor of State Award is presented for excellence in financial reporting in accordance with the generally accepted accounting principles and compliance with the applicable laws for the fiscal year ended 2023. The citizens you represent are well served by your effective and accountable financial practices. We are grateful, Brad, for your transparency and leadership that you've brought to the district. Your attention to detail and efforts to constantly and consistently ensure we are fiscally responsible are appreciated and do not go unnoticed. Thank you for the work that you and your office do for the district. Yep.
Good evening. Thank you for allowing us to come this evening and present for Josh. As you know, last month, I think it was, maybe it was in May, we introduced Josh as he was going to get to qualify and compete at the national level for Carpentry and Skills USA. And today we are reporting, and we've invited him here today to let you know and update you that he finished third in the entire country, if you haven't heard yet already. So I'd like to give him a round of applause here. So there were a little over 6,000 students competing at the national level. I think there were around 50 within the carpentry unit that he was competing against. And to finish third in the entire country within those skills is extremely impressive. So I would like to award him and honor him and recognize him tonight with this plaque. It's pretty simple there. Congratulations. Also, I would like to, I think it's important to reflect and think of and thank all of those educators that had an impact on Josh throughout his entire career here at Madison. Obviously, particularly Andy Wigton and Casey Perry, who helped really hone those skills in carpentry. And I think that says a lot about our people here at Madison to help produce products like this in Joshua Atwell. So congratulations once again, Josh.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, at this time we'll recognize any visitors that wish to discuss anything on the agenda.
Hi, if you didn't know already, my name is Krista Freeney and I teach Spanish at the middle school. So I'm fortunate enough to work alongside Laura Phillips and Jessica Coons. And all three of us are working together to organize and plan the trip to Costa Rica next summer. So we are very fortunate to have received a donation from the, and I had to write it down because I know all of it, the Fraternal Order of Eagles, the chapter 2178 out of Ashland. So this was made possible by two of our students, Sabrina and Santana Hoffman, which are, I believe, a junior and a sophomore this year. I kind of lose track of them after they leave 8th grade. And their parents, or their grandparents, Ruth and Dwight Hedgeland. And just a little update on the trip. We currently are up to 12 Madison students. The three teachers, Mrs. Phillips, Mrs. Coons, and myself, along with my twin seniors, are going on the trip for a total of 17. So that donation will be equally divided among the students once we get closer to May, so, which isn't a huge amount of money. So I know that the cost of the trip is quite significant, and a lot of kids get a little bit of the sticker shock when they look at it at first. But talking to students after they come home on previous trips, you get to see, not just the superficial, oh, we got to learn, practice the language, see the culture and try the foods and stuff, but they also gain a great understanding of their capabilities going into adulthood. So it kind of opens a door for them to hopefully, explore the world a little bit further. And also to gain a great appreciation of what they have. So a lot of the countries that we visited, they're not quite as fortunate as we are here. And so the kids kind of, are extremely grateful for the opportunity to travel and to kind of see how, lucky they are to live here in Ohio in the States. So I think that's about all I had. I'm hoping to recruit a few more after we start school in just a few short weeks. Summer is going way too fast, so, but, all right.
That's awesome. Thank you for the update. I look forward to hearing more about it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, anybody else? Okay. Administrative committee reports, legislative,
No report.
athletic board of control.
Met June 27th, went over to the winter and spring past expenditures and the results, and then we approved the budget for 24-25 next school year.
Okay. And I don't see a student representative. Facilities? Okay. Board policy? No? Okay. Student achievement, I just have something short from the Career Center. 100% recent certification testing passage rates. So 2 out of 2 students passed cosmetology and advanced cosmetology licensure. 1 out of 1 student passed cosmetology licensure. 4 out of 4 passed registered dental assisting certifications. 1 out of 1 passed registered medical assistant certification, and 1 out of 1 passed registered phlebotomy technician certification. Adult diploma achievement, 7 students passed 5 certifications and graduated from the Customer and Office Support Technologies program and received high school diplomas. This class was held in partnership with Crawford County, Ohio Means Job Center in Bucyrus and Mansfield City Adult Education. 2 students passed certifications and 1 student graduated from the gas metal arc welding program and also received a high school diploma. And the Madison Adult Career Center achieved our all-time high enrollment of 42 adult diploma students in the 23 to 24 school year. To date, 37, which is 88.1%, have graduated with 5 students still in progress. That is all I have for student achievement. So superintendent's update?
It's been a very busy summer, which, as Krista alluded to, is going very quickly as we get ready for the 24-25 school year. And as we have discussed, we'll be celebrating 100 years of Madison throughout the school year next year. The committee has made plans for a number of events, kicked off by the Alumni Night, which will be at the first home football game on August 30th when we play River Valley, and a number of things planned for the football game. Some other things that are planned throughout the year is recognition at basketball games based on different decades. So different decades would be recognized at basketball games throughout the season. And then we're planning a teacher and staff reunion for current and former employees of Madison, having a reception, hopefully out at Mid-Ohio Educational Service Center in February, and then kind of culminating in May with a parade celebrating the 100 years. So appreciate the work that committee's done of planning those things and making the 100 years of Madison a big deal throughout the coming months and the next year. Also pleased to announce that we've come to a tentative agreement with the non-teaching staff on a contract for the next 3 years. That hopefully will be finalized. I think they plan to take that to their membership in August sometime. And if their membership ratifies it, then would bring that to the board for approval, hopefully in August. Also excited about our 2 new basketball coaches that we've hired over the summer. They have big shoes to fill. We had excellent coaches in Mike Leeper and Chris Armstrong, but we have Davey Hipp will be our boys coach. He's on the agenda tonight, and Phil Schmuck has taken over the girls program. And we're very excited for both of them. Feel like they bring some excellent things to the table for both of those programs, and look forward to growth in both of those programs. And then finally, just want to update you on the turf project. The Athletic Boosters has graciously been willing to turf the infields of both the softball and baseball fields, and we are has also looked into replacing the turf at the football stadium. In looking at it, what we've decided is to, since we think we can get 2 more years out of the football turf, based on, we had a representative from Mott's, who's the group that put the turf down. He was up today, and he is confident that safely we can get 2 more years out of the turf. So the plan at this point would be to turf the softball and baseball fields in the fall of 25, so next fall, and then follow that up with redoing the football turf as soon as the season's over in the fall of 25. So
Will that correct the water problem on the baseball field, softball field?
yes, there will be significant drainage put in to ensure that the water doesn't lay like it does.
Yeah.
So we'll get 1 more season out of the regular surfaces that are out there now on the softball and baseball fields, and 2 more seasons out of the football turf. So that'd be 12 years for the football turf, which is about what we anticipated when that was originally put in. So, and then the funding for that project, the baseball donation will be a part of that funding, the Booster Club, and then for the football stadium, we've been saving up $10,000 a year since that turf was put in from the general fund to pay a portion of that cost. So as far as what that whole project will cost the board, would just be that amount. I think it's like $144,000, I think, that we've saved up over that time. So there'd be no additional cost to the board for that project.
So the boosters and the donation are covering the entire cost for the baseball and softball fields?
And we are also seeking some private donations to be a part of that. But between private donations, the Athletic Booster Club, and the donation that was already received from the baseball, plus the board's portion, would cover the entire cost of the project. And then moving forward, we would continue to be saving money each year, setting it aside, because now the cost of redoing 3 fields instead of 1 is going to be more. So that will all be brought to you once the projects are fully planned and we know exactly what the costs will be.
Okay.
And that's it.
Okay. Presentations, Mr. Yost?
Good afternoon, all. Just telling you about the bus garage and how we're doing. Just just a little over a month before the start of the 24-25 school year, what some others have already said. We at the bus garage have been hard working getting the buses ready. They have been inspected by the Highway Patrol and thoroughly cleaned and disinfected. Parents of students have been utilizing final forms to request transportation, and I've been busy getting them routed. I will plan to send out postcards with bus numbers and route numbers and times probably around August 10th. So they will have that information. I'm also going to, with the new web page and communication portal, I plan on sending out a limited amount of emails to maybe some of my bus drivers that has kids and just see how that works. So maybe in the next year, in the future, we can just use that and save some money in postage. So that we're going to see how that works. Speaking of savings, I have looked into How Schools Consortium for fuel, to buy fuel. It leverages multiple districts' purchasing power to get a lower price. The bids have come in, and I estimate we'll be able to save around $1,000 annually with purchasing this way. So we plan on doing that. This year, as in years past, we will not transport open enroll students until about a month in, just to make sure we have all the students that we need to transport, and then I ask those students parents to call us around middle of September and let us know that they need transportation, and we'll see what we can do. This year we will run 18 regular ed buses and 2 special ed buses. That's pretty much all I have. But any questions or anything? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mike?
Yes.
Okay, and item I need a motion for approval of donations.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
Oh, sorry, didn't hear you.
I'd just like to publicly thank the Ashland Eagles. That's quite a donation, and greatly appreciated, as as Ms. Freeney said, that reduces the cost for all of the families to go on the trip. So thank you to Ashland Eagles.
Yes, I agree. Okay, roll call?
Mr. Mosier?
4.
Mr. Wicks? 4. Miss Amy Walker?
4.
Mrs. Cotter?
4.
Mrs. Melissa Walker?
4. Item J, treasurer's business. I need a motion.
So moved.
A second.
I'll second.
Okay, discussion?
I'll tell you what, we'll, since June was the end of the fiscal year, we'll just talk about that. The end of the fiscal year actually pretty good. The expenses did exceed revenues, but not by, it was by less than 0.5%. So essentially we're flat, $155,000, $156,000. As far as forecasting goes, I was about 1.4%, 1.5% off from the November forecast, and just slightly over 1% for the May forecast. And had we not had to do that advance for self-insurance fund in June, we would have flipped. The expenditures would have been less than the revenues. So, when you're talking less than 0.5%, it's pretty much flat. So Mr. Peterson and the administration did a really good job making sure that, helping the treasurer's office balance the budget. As far as revenues, we were up over 12%, but that was because of the levy that was passed. That new money helped. State funding was up about 8%, but that was anticipated because, like I said, we were capped. They actually owe us more money than we're getting anyway. As far as expenditures, we did pretty good too. Salaries and wages, because we had some RIFs, we only ended up increasing wages about 1.5% for the year. Unfortunately, because of insurance, we were almost 5% increase in benefits, though. Because of things like what Mr. Yost said he's doing with the consortium, things like that. We were able to keep purchase services just to a 1% increase. And had we gotten our E-rate reimbursement, which is nothing anybody here in this district's done, it's our federal government's lack of responsiveness, we actually would have been the opposite way. We would have been, had a decrease this year in purchase services. We were able to reduce supplies by 5% this year, thanks to, our administration tightening their belts. And capital expenses, we were able to reduce it by 4%. So my hat's off to the administration. They've done a really good job in tightening their belts, and with that coupled with some of the tough decisions Mr. Peterson's had to make with regards to staffing, make sure we're aligned, and those are families that we're telling, riffing. So we did a good job this year. I'm very pleased with the way things turned out. I've looked at next year's forecast, and even after the tentative settlement of OPSI, we're still right on track with what has been proposed to have revenues exceed expenditures next year. And I guess what I'm saying is next year's forecast is not going to look a whole lot different right now than what I presented in May. So, I mean, I've been doing some work, and it's pretty close to it. So, any questions on the treasurer's report?
Roll call.
Miss Amy Walker?
4.
Mrs. Cotterman?
4.
Mr. Mosier? 4. Mr. Wigton? 4. Mrs. Melissa Walker?
4. Item K, matters related to personnel. I need a motion. A second.
I'll second.
Discussion. Okay, roll call.
Mr. Mosier? 4. Mrs. Cotterman?
4.
Miss Amy Walker?
4.
Mr. Wigton? 4. Mrs. Melissa Walker?
4. Item L, superintendent's business. I need a motion.
So moved.
Discussion.
Yeah, just to comment on a few of the items. Number 1 there, that's an annual thing that we have to do to appoint a delegate and an alternate to the OSBA annual business meeting on that Monday. And then typically what we do, what the board does is makes that decision. We'll have another agenda item in August for you to make that decision on who those, who the delegate and alternate will be. You can.
Okay. So I did it a couple years ago, and I felt really awkward because, well, do you guys really know like how it works? Or do you want me to explain real quick? Okay, so it's their legislative platform, and other school districts like submit things they want to change in that platform that they go lobby at the State House for, that OSBA will go lobby for. And I felt like I was voting for us. And I think we should have like a meeting first, look at it all, decide how Madison is voting. I don't know what you guys thought about that. Or whoever, like whoever goes, it's you, it's not, like, I don't know how everyone else feels.
Right. I like the idea. I
Yeah.
think it's
I mean,
good.
Fine with that, Mary.
Okay.
So with that, and
Yeah.
in looking
Sorry.
back, I think we would have a kind of tight frame to put it together. I think you get the actual packet like a month before the meeting.
You do.
So we
Whoever
would
the
have
delegate
to-
is gets it emailed.
Right. So we'd have to schedule it, relatively quickly. So
But
just
then
something to keep in mind.
whoever the delegate goes, they already know how they're voting,
Well,
This is
and
what
the other
Madison
thing
is.
is, even that Sunday evening that we usually go down the night before, you'd have time to meet that, because if we're all there.
Yeah.
So that's something to
Yeah,
keep in mind
yeah,
too.
exactly. Yep.
And just to follow up, Brad and I have talked, and it is our suggestion, board can do what it wants, that we only spend the night Monday night. So go down Monday, be there Monday, have dinner and spend the night Monday night and then stay for some portion of Tuesday and then come home Tuesday, rather than stay 2 nights.
And if we wanted to go down for 2 nights, we would pay for the 1 night on our own.
Yeah.
Is that the correct date, November 11th? That's better to me.
It is.
It's the 10th through the 12th, yeah. Yep.
I won't be attending.
I don't think he'll be our delegate then.
Yeah, I was saying, I guess you don't want to be the delegate
That. I
then.
don't think he'll be a delegate, yeah. Okay,
So that can be decided at next month's meeting. Number 4, just wanted to bring your attention to that. So that is part of the science of reading that has come from the state, as far as, you know, the curriculum that we are able to use and are required to use. We were limited, and so this was, Renee met with the teachers that would be involved and the administrators at the elementary level, and that was kind of a group decision. But I just want to call you to the attention, you know, the Ohio Department of Education and Workforce, you know, I was of the understanding that, you know, they were going to cover the cost of that. Well, they allocated money for every district, and our allocation was just under $100,000, yet for 6-year licenses for that curriculum, it's going to cost the district, you know, $268,000. So we would be footing the bill for $168,000 of that. So just wanted to bring that to your attention.
What company is that, do you know?
I'm not, I don't know.
Okay.
And then on number 5, that change in the confidential salary schedule would be adding the accounts payable position, which is Tammy Harris's position. Since she retired and rehired, she's no longer a union employee. She's now a confidential employee. And on the number 6, we've added some responsibilities to Eric Turlow's load to be the 504 coordinator. He actually handled those duties last year at no increase in salary. So that will bump his salary up a little bit accordingly. But he does a great job with that. He's really overhauled the 504 process and how we're handling things. So I think that's definitely appropriate. That's all.
okay. Okay, roll call?
Miss Amy Walker,
4.
Mr. Wigton,
4.
Mr. Mosher,
4.
Mrs. Cotterman,
4.
Mrs. Melissa Walker.
4. Any visitors' comments? Okay, our next regular Board of Education meeting will be on August 28th at 6 p.m. here. And I need a request to go into executive session to discuss employment and preparing for conducting or reviewing negotiations or bargaining sessions with public employees concerning their compensation or other terms and conditions of their employment.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
discussion? Okay,
Mr. Wigton,
4.
Miss Amy Walker.
4.
Mr. Mosher,
4.
Mrs. Cotterman,
4.
Mrs. Melissa Walker.
4. Okay, and when we come back, we will not be conducting any business.